The story of this episode unfolds in a highly tense and emotional sequence, beginning with Mir Hadi appearing before his influential father, Mir Shah. Showing a glimpse of superficial regret, Hadi apologizes for the massive media uproar caused by his reckless actions. However, Mir Shah, a powerful and calculating politician, dismisses his worries, assuring him that everything will be managed seamlessly through their power and status. To display their untouchable authority to the world, Mir Shah orders a grand celebration at their mansion to welcome Hadi back, showing no remorse for the tragedy they caused. Meanwhile, Khaani's household is drowned in an ocean of profound grief and devastating trauma. Khaani's mother is completely shattered by the brutal murder of her only son, Sarim. Consumed by immense guilt, she cries hysterically, blaming herself for failing to protect her child and for being forced to sign the documents that sealed their helplessness. Watching her mother fall apart, Khaani embraces her tightly, trying to comfort her despite her own heart breaking. Khaani expresses her deep anguish, questioning why they are so utterly powerless and why the entire society remains silent when everyone knows exactly who the murderer is. Concurrently, at the hospital, Khaani's father, Salman, undergoes medical evaluation after collapsing from the shock of his son's death. The doctor eventually clears his reports, stating that he is out of danger and can be discharged after completing some routine formalities. Upon his return home, the atmosphere remains suffocatingly tense due to Sarim's absence and the looming threats from Mir Hadi's family. When a relative attempts to offer financial assistance to the family, Khaani's brother fiercely rejects the money, stating that while their father is battling for his life, they will never compromise their dignity or accept charity born out of pity. On the other side, Mir Hadi hangs out with his friends, but appears deeply distracted and restless as the gravity of his crime begins to haunt his conscience. His father advises him to play along with a fake drama of remorse in front of the media for a few days to let the public anger cool down, assuring him that a new headline will soon make everyone forget the incident. Despite this, Hadi cannot shake off the memory of Khaani's fierce resistance and the intense grief he inflicted upon her family. In the final moments of the episode, Khaani sits alone in the darkness, weeping and talking to the memory of her late brother Sarim. She confesses that she had resolved never to forgive his killers and to stand fearlessly against them, but the harsh reality of their helplessness and the broken system have forced her into a corner. She bitterly realizes that society only bows to the powerful, while the voices of the poor are suppressed. The episode concludes on a heavy note of sorrow, helplessness, and an underlying resolve as Khaani prepares to face the dark times ahead for the sake of her family's survival. The continuation of the dramatic saga across these 3 episodes builds an intense, deeply emotional narrative that follows the stark contrast between the absolute grief and survival of a broken family and the dangerous, volatile obsession of an untouchable elite. The storyline progresses chronologically across the 3 parts without any interruptions, mapping out the growing conflict in comprehensive detail. In the aftermath of the settlement, the weight of survival falls heavily on Khaani's household. The family gathers around the dinner table, where a bleak reality sets in. Seeking to establish some sense of normal life, the mother quietly suggests that the younger sisters should start preparing to return to their college classes. The girls hesitate, their expressions shadowed by the immense trauma and the lingering fear of the influential family that destroyed their peace. Khaani, displaying an iron-walled maturity, interjects to reassure them, stating that there is no longer a reason to live in absolute hiding. She reasons that the tormentors have already coerced what they wanted from them, and they have no logical reason to return or cause further distress. Her sister questions how they can ever be guaranteed safety in a world so deeply skewed against them, to which Khaani resolutely responds that their only absolute guarantee rests in their faith in God, as human assurances mean nothing now. The mother agrees, realizing that life cannot remain completely frozen in grief. Amidst this conversation, the mother mentions that representatives from their late brother Sarim's college had visited earlier regarding insurance policies and priority student funds, but her mind was too numb to comprehend the details. Khaani gently steps in, instructing her mother not to burden herself further, and promises to handle the college officials when they return the following day. Driven by an urgent need to support her family and relieve her ailing father, who is dealing with severe health issues following the loss of his son, Khaani makes a monumental decision. She announces to her mother that she is officially dropping out of her own studies. Her mother is immediately shocked and objects, arguing that she and her late husband had envisioned a bright academic future for her. Khaani counters with heartbreaking maturity, noting that they had envisioned a beautiful future for Sarim as well, yet life ruthlessly disrupted those plans. She emphasizes that with Sarim gone and their father unable to work, sitting at home with a degree that offers no immediate relief is a luxury they cannot afford. Her goal is clear: she will take up any employment available, whether as a receptionist or an office assistant, to ensure a steady stream of income. The mother is deeply pained, feeling the agony of watching her daughter sacrifice her youth, but Khaani remains unyielding, declaring that she is no longer a helpless girl. She has grown up out of sheer necessity. Concurrently, a massive storm brews within the luxurious mansion of the ruling political family. Mir Hadi remains completely detached, his mind trapped in a labyrinth of confusion and unyielding obsession. His mother expresses deep frustration to Mir Shah, complaining that Hadi has become entirely unreachable, ignoring her advice and drifting away into total isolation. When Mir Shah confronts his son about his continuous absence from critical social and political circles, pointing out that a politician's career cannot thrive on unpredictable moods, Hadi responds with cold indifference. He joins his close friend Ali for a drive, where Ali tries to decipher his strange behavior, jokingly asking if a new girl has entered his life. When Ali glances at a document and uncovers the name Sanam Khan, he asks if she is the one causing this shift. Hadi becomes deeply intense, explaining that for the first time in his entire life, an ordinary girl had the audacity to look him dead in the eye without a shred of fear. He describes how every person he has ever encountered cowered before his gunpowder and family name, a dynamic he thoroughly enjoyed, yet Khaani's absolute lack of terror has shattered his understanding of power. Ali advises him to dismiss these thoughts and offers to arrange a trip to Europe to clear his mind, but Hadi refuses, driven by a compulsive need to understand why this specific girl remains unfazed by his terror. As the days progress, Mir Shah grows increasingly suspicious of his son's prolonged silence and strange demeanor. He discusses the matter with his wife, Sitara, noting that ever since Hadi signed the court documents and the public controversy died down, the boy has been entirely muted and distant. Mir Shah confesses his concern that Hadi might be planning something reckless that could drag their family back into a public scandal just as they are recovering. Sitara suggests that perhaps the guilt of the incident is weighing on him, but Mir Shah knows his son's volatile nature too well. He warns her that if Hadi steps out of line again, or allows an obsession to cloud his judgment, the resulting fallout might be something that neither of them will be able to fix or cover up. He resolves to personally intervene and keep a sharp eye on every single movement his son makes. Khaani begins her dual life of rigorous labor, splitting her exhausting days between working a daytime shift at a hospital office and managing evening duties at a local restaurant on weekends. Her mother worries incessantly about the physical and emotional toll this is taking, especially since the family's financial situation requires every bit of income, combined with the small pension of the father. Khaani dismisses the exhaustion, reminding her mother that her presence at home is vital to care for their father, who requires constant assistance even for basic movements. During a brief moment of respite at home, Khaani's younger sisters present her with a beautifully wrapped box. It is a hidden birthday gift that Sarim had meticulously planned and bought for her before his untimely demise, having instructed his sisters to keep it a secret until the exact date. Opening the gift, Khaani finds a brand new mobile phone alongside a recorded video message from Sarim. In the footage, a vibrant Sarim wishes her a happy birthday, explaining that he bought the phone so he could stay connected through video calls once he moved away for his future endeavors. This unexpected encounter with her brother's voice triggers an outpouring of immense grief, washing over the sisters as they weep bitterly, trapped between the sweetness of his memory and the bitterness of his absence. The narrative shifts gears dramatically when Mir Hadi decides to act upon his obsession. He tracks Khaani down to her workplace, stepping out of his vehicle completely alone. In a stark departure from his usual routine, he purposefully leaves his armed security guards and weapons behind. He confronts Khaani directly, demanding that she look at him and speak to him. Khaani stands her ground, her face hardening with absolute disgust. Hadi, fueled by an erratic mixture of arrogance and warped infatuation, confesses that he has fallen completely in love with her. He tells her that he can no longer tolerate the hatred burning in her eyes and demands that she replace it with affection. Khaani looks at him with utter disdain, declaring that his actions do not reflect bravery, but cowardice. She tells him that true strength does not come from pointing a gun at defenseless people, and challenges him to walk the streets without his weapons to see how truly small he is. She reminds him that the ultimate power belongs to God, whose divine retribution will eventually strike him down. Her words cut deep into his pride, leaving him stunned as she walks away, leaving him standing alone in the open. Hadi's obsession escalates to a dangerous level, manifesting in a relentless wave of unwanted attention. Luxurious bouquets of flowers and expensive boxes of sweets begin arriving at Khaani's workplace and home daily, sent anonymously but bearing the unmistakable mark of his shadow. Khaani's mother grows deeply anxious upon noticing these deliveries, questioning her daughter about who could be behind such bold and unsettling gestures. Khaani tries to downplay the situation, hiding the terrifying truth from her family to prevent her father from suffering another medical crisis. She quietly disposes of the gifts, but internally, she feels a suffocating sense of dread, realizing that the monster who destroyed her brother is now circling her life like a predator. This bizarre behavior does not escape the watchful eyes of Mir Shah's intelligence network. His loyal associates report back to the politician, detailing how the young master is neglecting all family businesses and spending his entire day acting as a silent, persistent shadow behind the daughter of the man they recently silenced. Mir Shah is filled with cold fury upon learning that his son is pursuing a girl from the very family they destroyed. He realizes that this infatuation is a ticking time bomb for their political reputation. Zitara tries to intervene, suggesting to Ali that he should find another distraction or introduce Hadi to other social circles to draw his attention away from Khaani, noting that women are replaceable in their world. However, Ali admits that Hadi is completely beyond anyone's control at this point. Sensing the rising danger, Mir Shah drops a dark hint to his subordinates, implying that if Hadi does not abandon this madness willingly, the girl herself will have to be permanently removed from the equation to protect the family empire. The tension reaches a breaking point on a fateful afternoon. As Khaani is walking along the bustling streets after her shift, a speeding vehicle violently strikes her down in what appears to be a calculated and sudden accident. The impact leaves her unconscious and severely injured on the pavement as onlookers rush to her aid. News of the horrifying incident reaches her family, throwing them into a state of absolute panic as they rush to the hospital. Simultaneously, Mir Hadi receives word of the accident and loses all rationality. He storms into the hospital, his heart gripped by the terrifying prospect of losing the object of his obsession. When he sees her family gathered outside the emergency ward, he is forced to maintain his distance, watching from the shadows as the doctors treat her. Fortunately, Khaani regains consciousness, her injuries deemed non-life-threatening, but requiring substantial rest. Her mother sits by her bedside, weeping over the relentless misfortunes targeting their household, while Khaani tries to remain strong, urging her family to return home and rest while she awaits formal discharge. The climax of this sequence takes place back at the Mir mansion, where an explosive confrontation erupts between father and son. Hadi walks into the estate, his face pale with rage, and openly confronts Mir Shah, demanding to know if he was the one who orchestrated the hit on Khaani. Mir Shah does not deny his ruthless methods, asserting his authority as a father and a leader who will protect his legacy at any cost. Hadi, completely consumed by his warped emotions, boldly threatens his own father, stating that his own survival is tied directly to Khaani's existence. In a chilling declaration that sets the stage for an all-out war of wills, Hadi states that if anything happens to Khaani, it will mean the absolute end of Mir Hadi as well, cementing his dangerous descent into an obsession from which there is no return.